Hi friends, Tracy.bish here, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Central Victoria, Australia. Welcome to another alternative using May's Paper Pumpkin kit, Sparkling Celebrations. I love this fun fold card. It is such a good one. I'm almost down to my last little dregs of the kit, so I'm using a full card base. Starting off with a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock. This measures 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. On the 8 1/4 inch side, we're going to score at 2 1/16, 4 1/8, and 6 3/16. So really we're doing the 2 1/16 on either side and then the score line in the center. That's going to give us our W fold or M fold, whichever you would like to look at it. We're also going to make a mechanism for that pop-up feature in the center, and for that mechanism we need a 7.5 by 1 3/4 inch piece, and we're going to score that at 1 3/4, 2 3/4, 4 3/4, and 5 3/4. And for the folding of that, there is a definite rectangle in the center there. We're going to fold the 2 score lines on either side downwards, and then all of them are pretty much folded downwards. So as you can see as we go, so we've got that center, folding those down, using a bone folder to get a nice crisp score line, and then we have like that little box mechanism. Now if I turn it around the other way, so we've got our 2 tabs on the top here, I'm going to add some adhesive to my left hand side, and I'm going to use Seal Plus here, but you could use tear and tape, liquid glue, whatever you would like. And all we're going to do is keep at that first score line, line it up in that first score line on our card base and in the middle there. And we're just going to add a little bit of adhesive to the other side and line that up in the middle on that last score line there. And that's our card base all ready to go. So there we have it. Let's get into decorating. Now I wasn't sure if I was going to add a mat to this card base that we're cutting up. I decided against it, but you could certainly add a mat behind it. So for this card base, it's already at 5 3/4 of an inch piece. So we need 4 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 5.5. It must be 5.5. So the card base is a 5.5 by whatever it is. So once we've got our 4 pieces, you end up with just a scrap left over. Leave that because I'm going to do another card with that later on. Okay, so I'm just going to line these up, keeping them in order so it stays in order. Now for some reason I struggle with this design, which it works out fine anyway, but I seem to think that the lanterns are on the bottom of the page, but it's okay, we flip it around and you know, it's fine. But yeah, the lanterns go on the top of the card, so I don't know, it's just the way I look at it, obviously. So welcome to my channel, guys. I hope that you're enjoying my alternative cards. If you haven't seen them yet, check the channel out once you're finished with this video, and I hope that you subscribe, give me a like, leave me a comment, all those good things as well. So I've got another video coming out with May's tutorial alternatives, but this is the 3rd card already with this alternative projects. So I've also brought in a die set. This is called the Beautifully Celebrated dies. It's got some great nesting dies in it, and I thought this would work really well as the center pop-up feature. So I'm using Daffodil Delight, which is one of the coordinating colors, as well as Blackberry Bliss, and I'm just going to quickly die cut those. I am using both the stamp set in this kit as well as those wonderful scene dies, which were the add-on dies for April, May and June. So if you have those, well done, because they are a great addition to making alternative cards with the 3 months of the kit, and what a great one for your stash later on. So I'm going to use that wonderful die there, and I've teamed it up with a stamp in the set that I probably won't use too much of. It's You Are Invited. I don't know, I don't really do many invitation cards, but you are, and then use the wonderful die. So I thought that worked really well. Now one tip I will give you if you are die cutting this wonderful, if you have that adhesive backed, I don't even know what it's called. It's like adhesive tape that you can add to your die cuts to the back of your cardstock and then die cut it out and then pull the backing off. This is such a small die that I highly recommend, if you have that tape, use it, because you will save yourself a lot of trouble trying to glue that down, but it turned out all right anyway. Now, I really loved the Wonderful there, but I thought with the UR, we might bring in some of that metallic that's in the background of that card base. So there's like a silver, what do they call it? Silver glitter in the card that we might do some heat embossing, because that will tie in really nicely. I could have also used, you know, maybe pumpkin pie or Daffodil Delight was way too light, but I thought we'd bring in the Versamark ink the stamp up, and because it's one big stamp, I'm just being very careful to only add ink to the UR, which was easy enough to do. And then we're going to hit it with the silver powder and just melt that powder. Now, if you're new to crafting and you've never heat embossed before, oh my goodness, this is the most amazing technique. I love it so much, and I think, you know, it's a wow for any crafter, whether you've been crafting for a long time or a very short time. But it's one of those ones that you have to have in your arsenal, because it can really elevate a card so nicely. Now, just quickly, although this kit is no longer available, you can still purchase, or you can subscribe now for next month's kit, which I highly recommend. I hope that you do, because I'll be giving you some examples of alternative projects for that kit as well. So you'll feel very well inspired. Everything comes included in the kit. You'll get an ink spot, a stamp set, all the card kits, the embellishments, the adhesives, everything that you're going to need for that kit. So this is a really great way of getting into crafting as a beginner, but it's also a really great way of, you know, someone who maybe not has a lot of money or a lot of space for craft items, because this kit comes with everything that you need. Now, if you would like to make alternatives, you can get away with that with just a little bit of cardstock in your stash. So very easy to do. Okay, so I have just heat embossed that sentiment. I've added adhesive down to the Wonderful die cut, and then I've glued the two die cuts together. It looked a little plain, so I'm bringing in my blending brushes and adding a little bit of Daffodil Delight. I'm not sure whether I think I brought in the Timid Tiger. It's actually pumpkin pie in the color scheme, but I think pumpkin pie was just too much. And I think I didn't even add too much ink anyway. There was enough in that brush from previous. And the Blackberry Bliss as well. Now, if you have a look at my card, I have done my colouring of the ink blending upside down. I probably should have done it the other way around, but honestly, I don't think anyone is really going to look that hard or notice it now until, you know, I've said it. But anyway, it's all good. And we're going to adhere that down with some dimensionals for that as well. Now, there is dimensionals in that kit, so you do have them in the kit as well. Now, once this card goes together, as you can see, there's not really anywhere to write on this card. So what I've done is I've come in with a couple of strips of basic white cardstock, and these measure, it's the same as the DSP at the front, so 1 3/4 by 5.5. And we're just going to cut them and add them to the back of the card, so you've got plenty of room to write. Now, even though there's that silver sparkle in the card front, I'm just going to come in with just some basic rhinestones. Now, I did look through my stash and I come up with some gold and silver embellishments. I didn't like how they looked, so I went with the old dimensionals, and I think you really can't go wrong, especially as a new crafter. The basic rhinestones, sorry, I said dimensionals. The basic rhinestones will go with any project. It is one of those embellishments that will just look amazing on any card or project. So if you can only afford one pack of embellishments, this is the one to go. You get so many in the pack, and they will last forever as well. So I've just added a few to the label, as well as to the background as well. So let's start with the card, the backing of the card. Again, the measurements were 1 3/4 by 5.5. We've actually cut 2. And rather than just stick these white pieces of cardstock down, I thought we might bring in those blending brushes again, and then just create that nice little blending background with the Blackberry Bliss, Timid Tiger, and Daffodil Delight. And then I've also come in with that stamp set that comes in the kit. There's little stars which you can see in that card front that we have popped on the front. And I've just gone in and stamped where the Blackberry Bliss is down the bottom. Just some row of stars along there as well. And, you know, glue that down. This card is so quick and simple to put together. It is a really amazing card, you know, like, and it really hasn't used a lot of supplies as well. You know, we've got, you know, pretty much the basic card front. We've got a mechanism that is tiny anyway, and you've got a couple of extra pieces. Well, you'd put an inside piece into your card base anyway, so you know, it's just the basic supplies really, but it is an absolute wow card. I really hope that you've enjoyed today's card. If you have, I would love it if you left me a comment. Hit that subscribe button. You could share this video with your friends and family. I would love that. And what else? Hit subscribe. All those things. Anyway, I'll be back with another video really soon with some more alternatives, quick alternatives rather than a bit of a fun fold. So come back and join me for that. And yeah, I really appreciate your time today. So thank you so much for that. All right, everyone, enjoy your day and I'll see you all soon. Bye.